Welcome back to another episode. This is my 1999 Chevy Astro van. I bought it from a crackhead for $500. Seems like I was also a crackhead for buying it. No regrets, am I right? I have been fixing it up and converting it to a camper van. Today in this video, I'll be fixing all the potential issues on the Chevy Astro. So hopefully the van will not break down again like it did in the last video. I definitely don't want to be stranded on the side of the road again. That's not fun. In the previous video, I replaced the distributor, so you can check that out if you want to. The distributor is very prone to failing in these vans, so that's probably the #1 thing you should do. It's called pancake disease. At least that's what the Astro van people say. I'm going to grab this just like so. I'm going to brace my abs, then just stand up. I kept my back straight. I felt my right butt cheek activate. That's probably the best way to break loose nuts if you don't want to hurt yourself. So I figured I would give you an optimal way to do it without hurting yourself. And that would suck if you accidentally hurt your back when you're trying to remove lug nuts, all because you didn't keep your back straight. I'm also a personal trainer and I like to help people make sure they don't hurt themselves. So now let's go ahead and fix the first potential issue. Hey, so if you're receiving crank but no start, and you're getting code P0335, then this crankshaft might be the culprit. So let's replace that. Underneath the van, I'm right here. You see these two main pieces of the frame. Come on this way. And here's my trusty sidekick, Tara. Remember her from the intro? She's holding the camera. Spray it with some crud cutter. And there's a tab behind this clip that you just kind of lift up and pull out. You lift up this tab, and you pull straight out. And how to get my other trusty sidekick, a flathead screwdriver, and pry this sucker out. And isn't that gross? Yes, it is. And all the parts will be linked down below for your convenience. People never understand just how meticulous working on these videos actually is. The camera is in such an awkward position and I had to awkwardly place a light down there. So yeah, that's the story of my life. I am awkward. Just look at how awkward I am trying to get out of my awkward position. But check out that perfect pistol squat. Now since we installed that part, let's make sure that we installed it correctly and see if it starts. So I just replaced the crankshaft sensor, but now I'm going to start to replace the brake master cylinder. But throughout the entire video, I start one thing, then I kind of go back to another thing. Some stuff needs to wait for other things to dry, and replacing some parts easier. So hold on tight. Make sure that the parts look the same. I moved the cap on the brake master cylinder. I started moving over the fuse box just to give me more room. Started to spray some crud cutter to make things just a little bit nicer. Everything's pretty gummy down there. And I sucked out all the brake fluid. And I post that syringe and a lot of these parts and tools I use in the description down below for your convenience. But now I realize that to remove those bolts, it'd be so much easier if I remove the radiator first. So here's underneath the van and underneath the radiator, and to the right of the radiator, here's this petcock. Twist this petcock and the coolant will start flowing out of right here. It's on the right side of the radiator on the Astro van. Grab yourself a Thanksgiving pan, place it right underneath, and just let it start pissing all over you. But quickly get out of the way so you don't get too wet. Also, don't forget to open up that radiator cap. I can tell you from experience, it's not supposed to look like that. So go ahead and recycle this correctly. Okay, so I'm doing a radiator flush to help clean the entire internals of the van. Since I'm also replacing the brake master cylinder, I'm not gonna drive it, so I'm just gonna let it idle for 10 minutes. Also put in some distilled water to top it off. That's to the top-ish, so it won't overheat while I do this coolant system cleaning process. So now I'm gonna let it run for 10 minutes. Keep an eye on the temperature. Don't forget to run max heat. That definitely looks worse. So I think the cleaner worked. Now it's time to remove that radiator. Basically everywhere where this ratchet goes, I'm removing a bolt. There's a total of 7 bolts. Move this plastic part. Tara's kind enough to clean it. Thank you, Tara. Top radiator hose that goes straight to the thermostat right back there. The clutch fan, that feels pretty good. The dinky radiator. We need to move this guy. Before I go any further, I want to make sure that the radiator I have is the same radiator that's going to fit in here. Looks good. Okay, so this is the process of removing these hard lines into the radiator. Basically, there's this metal clip you need to pry out with some type of picker. I'm using a tiny flathead that I bent, and that makes this process somewhat easy. Basically, take out that clip and pull out that tube. And there's 4 total of these. And that one and the bottom one on the right side of the radiator is pretty tough to remove. Now I'm removing the 4 bolts that hold the radiator down. I'm basically going through the grill, and that's me dropping the 10mm, like always. Tara, creeping around the corner. Now you have to install all these fittings into the radiator. Came with extra O-rings, which I'm not sure why, because they already had O-rings installed, but that's fine. New radiators in, it looks a whole lot better. Pop these guys in just like that, super easy. That thermostat clamp is a woozy. Doozy? A doozy. When we first cleaned the van, I found this hose, and I assumed it was a radiator hose, and it is. So the previous owner got a new hose, probably because he planned on doing this. 2 bolts here on the thermostat and 1 on the back. And there's also a grounding cable on that thermostat as well, so don't forget to reinstall that. And one of the previous fools decided to put gasket stuck open within the thermostat housing and not on the mating surface. I'm not sure what was going through this guy's head or what happened. I'm pretty sure that he just tightened it before the gasket got tacky and just squeezed all in. I'm surprised it wasn't leaking. RTB. Nothing wrong with RTB, but you gotta use it properly. All right, so I went ahead and cleaned that mating surface with a Scotch-Brite. I'm hungry. And now I'm replacing the second thermostat sensor. There's another one between the 3rd and 5th spark plug that you get to from the doghouse. That one's a little bit harder to replace because you gotta hold it with your thumb so it doesn't completely drain everywhere, but it would be prime time to do that job now. It's really hard getting good footage of all this. That is the thermostat sensor. Let's remove that and you're good to go. It's 19, you go right over the plug. Out with the stinky old one and in with a nice fresh new one. Do you know where this one goes? That's right, you watch my car mods in the bin. So I have a GoPro and I could get like first-hand footage of all this. I like the idea, might just do it anyways. How'd it look? And as you can see, I'm not using the GoPro footage just yet because I have it placed kind of incorrectly. I thought the GoPro footage was getting me installing this RTB, but it didn't. So now we're going to let that get all tacky for 10 minutes. Then we will attach this guy on top of it. Hey Siri, set a timer for 10 minutes. Thanks. Now let's go back to the brake master cylinder and remove those bolts. And this is significantly easier. Whole lot easier. I'm telling you, having all these drags here makes this job a whole lot nicer. Because this job is gross on this fan because there's so many small leaking fluids like this brake master cylinder leaking. Freaking gross. Yep, and that looks like a dirty little clog in that hole. Ugh. That's going in the trash. Crud cutter. It's been about 10 minutes, so now it's time to hand tighten this down. And then I'm going to wait 1 hour before torquing it all down. So I set another alarm on my phone. All right, now time to install these lines. It's a 9/16. I'm going to create a brake line threader. That's what I'm going to do right now. because if I didn't, that would take forever. So basically I just cut a little slot where the brake line can go within the wrench. That's how you make a brake line threader, or brake line, whatever it's called. Okay, so while I wait for Tara to get done doing what she's doing so she can help me bleed this brake master cylinder, I'm going to tighten that guy right there. The spec to that looks to be about 14 foot-pounds. So I'm gonna try to do that by hand because I can't get a torque wrench here, no way, no how. That was my alarm, my hour alarm, so I was right. It's been about time. All right, folks, that's tightened down. Now I can start reassembling all this. Check it out. Tara cleaned all the plastics for me. So you kind of got to feed this around the fan. These kind of clip in. There you go, all these guys clipped in. I'll be using this new hose that the guy got from Napa. He's got Napa know-how. Not really, he's an idiot, that's okay. Definitely not using that OEM clamp. Now I'm cleaning the math. Tara's gonna step on the brakes to help me bleed this master cylinder. Now, y'all might think I should bench bleed it, but I don't necessarily have the tools right now. I'm gonna use the method Scotty Kilmer has, and that's basically break loose these brake lines all the way. I cut this, if you remember. I think that's loose enough there. Loosening this back one right here. All right, go ahead and press on the brakes. Yeah, once, that's it.
All the way.
Yeah, keep it.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we will tighten this. Now tighten it all the way. Okay. That back line is now tight. Now she can let go of the brakes. Put a rag down there so don't make a huge mess. So you do this a total of 5 to 6 times and the brake master cylinder should be fully bled. Now it's time to bleed the brakes, starting with the rear cylinder farthest away. All right, whenever you're ready, pump the brakes.
Okay. 1.
And ending with the brake caliper closest to the brake master cylinder. Okay, so all the brakes are now bled, coming out with clean fluid. That's all done, so I'm gonna top it off. Put the cap back on. And now it's time to finish installing the rest of the cooling system. So I use that pressed on radiator fluid and some distilled water. I lowered the back end to make the burping process just a wee bit easier. Then I started looking for leaks after I turned it on and topped off the fluid as I went. And of course, make sure that the heater is on. And there's no leaks. And I'm squeezing the hose to force burp the system as well. Now time to reinstall all the plastics and the air filter and whatnot. All the whatnots. That is done.
Done.
I'm really surprised I got all that done today. All right, so it's the next day and I wanted to test the brakes and see if they actually work. And as you can see, they are working properly, at least with it jacked up. So let's see how it drives. Temp gauge is actually working now, so that's a bonus. I replaced both the temperature sensors. That was a good brick. Everything feels a lot nicer. The brakes, the way it's driving, besides the noise because the catalytic converter is popped. So that weird rattling noise is basically the broken catalytic converter. All the components within it broke all up and it's causing that noise. That happened whenever I tried to start over the van with that starter fluid in the last video, when I was trying to figure out if the fuel pump was bad. So yeah. Gauges look pretty good. How'd the U-turn here? Yay! Man, those brakes feel so much better. Check out that turn radius. But in the next video, we are going to basically paint the roof. Going to get rid of the rust, so stay tuned for that. It's gonna look pretty good. And thank you again for everybody watching, it means a lot. all the support I've been getting with these videos, and I have a lot of fun making them. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe and like the video. And that's it for now. This is Chris AutoMotivate. Always appreciate and respect one another. I'll see you in the next video.